yourself and tell the community why you are running for mayor. I'm sorry. Thank you. Why you are running for mayor. I'm sorry. Why you are running for mayor and what are your qualifications? So your introduction, why you're running for mayor, what are your qualifications, and that will be for 2 minutes. Anybody can start.
I'll go first. My name is Sabo. I've lived in Rochester for 34 years. Running for mayor because I want to see us make improvements both in educational choices, business opportunities. We've got some big challenges ahead of us as a city. We're post-corporate, and there's a lot of job needs that we have. I don't see any other way out of our challenges that we have without good job opportunities in and around the city so that people can afford the rising costs of housing, the cost of utilities go up. Expenses are going up. We know that people need to have more money to live on. The only way I see us making that happen effectively is having a positive and conducive environment for employers, job opportunities in the city. A little background on myself. I raised a family. We live on the east side of the city. 3 kids. We homeschooled our 3 kids. They went on to college, went off, and they're in other parts of the world, so I got to chase them around in order to see them. We have enjoyed that opportunity to do that. Rochester provides a great opportunity for educational choices, and there are lots of neat things to do around Rochester. Let's celebrate those exciting things. I want to see those things improve. I'm also an avid cyclist, part of a number of cycling groups, and I like the things that have been done to make it possible for cyclists to enjoy the features of our area. A gorge, we can ride on trails, bike all the way to the lake and back. The streets are striped out. I want to see that continue to improve and be better for physical activity with the trails. And I see some of those things going in on the west side of the river, coming up to Plymouth Avenue. Looks like they're working on that. So I want to see those positive opportunities. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon and evening, ladies. This is my turn.
Let me get some. Test it out again, Asa.
Solve that problem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Asa Adams. I was once a resident of Rochester, New York, left and came back. And I'm a member of a lot of community organizations in Rochester as well as the United States. I was a former, and still is, a member of the Black Panther Party. And when I came back to Rochester, my heart was broken. I've been back now going on almost 10 years. What brought me back to Rochester was the educational system. I'm from Florida and lived in Atlanta. Florida has one of the hardest educational systems in the world I've ever seen. My grandchildren came to Florida for summer school and passed. And my daughter wanted to know why they were having issues here in Rochester, New York. That's why I met Howard Eagle. Boy, did I learn a lot. But Rochester's biggest problem goes beyond most of you folks' wildest imagination. One, you can't get the history here correct. People are being hurt left and right. Income in this city has been at its beautiful normal rate for decades. This is a city that you can actually live in and get things done. But the reason why I'm running for mayor is number one, to get this thing correct totally. Because this needs to be dealt with like a farmer dealing with bad crop. You gotta tilt the ground to grow something brand new. And if you folks don't understand it, you're gonna find out soon enough. And one of the reasons you're gonna find out with the new president we got, he's gonna teach us a real lesson. It's something we should have learned a long time ago.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Minister Clifford Florence, Sr. I'm the senior pastor of the Central Church of Christ. I'm glad to be here this evening. I want to run for mayor because we have issues that affect all of our lives. The gun violence that we have across our city, the importance of public safety, healthcare for the citizens of Rochester is not up to par for all of our citizens. Livable jobs. We need livable jobs for all of our residents here in the city of Rochester. Economic development. But I'm not talking about economic development for just the opulent. There are poor people in our community who've been deprived from the services that we all need. And I want to ensure to use the office of mayor to be accessible to you and to collaborate and talk directly to you, that you can share with me the direction that you would like to see our city go with. Activities for our youth and for our families are vital in every sector of this city. And then I would like the religious leaders and churches to work together with me. And I want to ask tonight that if I'm elected your mayor, I don't want that to be the only goal. I would hope that if I'm elected that you will commit to work with me for all 4 years. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shashi Sinha, and I'm running for mayor. I moved here 15 years ago when my wife got a job at RIT as a professor. Rochester is a beautiful place, but it has its problems. I own an in-apartment house. It was completely fire destroyed about 12 years ago, and nobody wanted to do anything with it. Went at the city, and I bought that property because nobody was doing anything with it. And when I went to the city told me, just knock it down. They're good at it. I said, no, I did not buy it to knock it down. I want to rebuild. Everybody told me it cannot be done. But I did it. And now we have saved that building. It is one of the highest rated, and it provides jobs, it provides tax money to the city. I got into running for mayor because city was doing tax foreclosure auction. And I found out city is kicking people out because people can't pay taxes. But that was triggered me to get into it. But that's not it. We have bigger problems. We have high crime, we have housing issue, we have education. This is crisis. These are three foundational things for a modern society. If any of these crumble, things will fall apart. So when we hear people say, stay the course, if you stay the course, you'll be exactly where you are today. We need to change. I come with bold plans. What I'm talking about is economic revival of the city. Look at my agenda. It's bold and beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a community question.
How do we plan to involve residents in decision-making procedures in Rochester?
Yes, please.
How do we plan to involve residents in decision-making procedures in Rochester?
Okay. My turn. That would be a rather beautiful, easy question, because actually, you are the employer and I am your employee. My job is to actually bring you all together at the table, work whatever issues that we really got, and clean it up, because those at the bottom know the answer. I already know that because I've been out here on these streets working for years. The biggest problem that the current administration, actually the last two current administrations, did not listen to the people, and you paid the price. The first mayor, next to this one, ignored you, and you ended up with a huge mess downtown. And this 2025 is the 2024 project is a very dangerous project. It's definitely for all citizens. And I'm not even talking about minorities, I'm talking about every last one of you. If they raise these taxes any higher, most of you folks are gonna have to do something with your property, or they're gonna actually come at it and foreclose on you. And it's cheaper for you to stay in your house than it is to try to stay in an apartment. And being your mayor is going to be one of the most major things that I will have to do, is try my hardest for you to bring people to the table, point out where the problem is, and let us be the firemen and put the fire out.
Well, it seems the one avenue that you have to be a part of decision-making process is city council, but I don't think that's really heard much as to what changes, benefit, and then coordinating between city council and mayor, be on the same page to bring about changes. But there does need to be feedback from everybody in the city as we go around. They do town halls throughout the city. I don't know how that percolates down to the decisions that are made. I think ultimately what money is available, what people are that have money to make the moves, do get the decisions going in their favor. The housing challenge is a big one that needs everybody to be involved, feedback-wise. And I agree that taxes are getting penalizing. I had one customer of mine tell me he's lived in his house for 20 plus years, he's retired, because I'm gonna have to move out of my house if my taxes go up any higher. He relies on a fixed income. Why are we driving people out of their homes? And we need to figure out better ways of getting money to come into our city. And I think jobs, again, are the big thing, being economically favorable to businesses to reside in. But on our part, as citizens of this city, we've got to do our jobs well, be an employable workforce, and be there ready to work. We're down to brass tacks at this stage in the game. We've all got to look towards having that income available to us and hear about what talents and abilities our city has, you as residents, what you will have to offer, and bring to the table so we can emphasize those benefits that Rochester has to offer a business that we choose to locate here.
I just want to, first of all, we just had Mary Lupien, who was running for mayor, join the table as well. And I want to reiterate the question. And the question is, how do you plan to involve residents in decision-making processes in Rochester?
Thank you, Pastor Wanda. I would like to have a minute to introduce myself. I know I had to be late because of the council meeting. I'm glad I'm here. Our mayor was there at the council meeting as well. I'm seeing he's not here. But I would like to just take a minute to introduce myself so I can answer the question. Would I be allowed to take that minute after the question round is over?
2 minutes.
All right.
There you go.
You want me to do that now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here. This is such an important part of our democracy. And it couldn't be more important than right now to protect our democracy by participating in it. My name is Mary Lupien, and I've I'm running to become our mayor because I believe leadership should be rooted in justice, courage, and evidence. I come to this work as a public servant and longtime community activist. I'm an educator in the Rochester City School District, teaching social emotional learning. So I see firsthand the immense challenges that our students bring to school with them every day. Problems that are in our power to solve. I was elected to City Council in January of 2020, and I've stepped up in times of crisis to lead bold initiatives. I spearheaded Rochester's first non-police mental health responder team, the Person in Crisis Team, and expanded that work through the New Cities Action Initiative. And I also brought Advanced Peace, a revolutionary model of gun violence prevention, to our city. I'm running to become our mayor because I believe government should work for the people, not powerful interests. Right now, our people are struggling, and our mayor is not taking action. We have a housing crisis in Rochester right now, and 5 days before Christmas, on the coldest day of the year, the mayor's solution to solve homelessness was taking away their tents. Housing is a human right, and as mayor, I'll work to ensure that every resident has access to housing. Youth violence is a public health crisis. In 23, carjacking rose by 350%, highest in the nation. Even our police chief admits that we can't police our way out of this problem. I'll invest in kids to give them a chance while working to address the root causes of crime. Thank you. So the answer to the question being how to involve folks in decision-making power process. I've been on the other side, and that's how I come to this work. And I know how frustrating it is when we show up month after month to city council meetings and county ledge meetings, only to feel like our voices aren't heard. And it's critical that we're involved in every step of the way, in transparency, and also in making decisions before they happen. I'm a big believer in participatory budgeting so that we have an amount of money and we go to the community to suggest projects and give input on how we spend our money, but also making sure that we are accessible, that we don't expect you to come to us, and that we come to you, and that we're regularly incorporating your feedback into how are things working and what should we be doing differently.
I think it's important in every sector of the city to have one table where all of the citizens can come together to inform me as your leader what your needs are. I would discourage that we be divisive in whatever we plan to do as a community. I would want to have as much as the community will come out, in every sector we would have meetings with the community. I want to be a listener. I present to you that I don't sit here with all of the solutions. I think that's one of the major issues that create problems within our city. I want to listen to you, and I want to commit that I will use the office of mayor to help you in the issues that you're struggling with and that you're facing. When you call City Hall, I want you to experience solutions and not voicemail. I don't want staff to turn their heads to you, but give attention to people in power, big business. Every one of the citizens here, you count. And I want to take the lead from you and to make sure that you're listened to. But then again now, we have to work together toward solutions. I think we all agree that we know the problems. And sometimes we beat the problems to death, but never work together for solutions. So I would encourage us, when you come to the meetings, let's not come with more problems. Let's come up with one solution. Let's work together toward that goal to make sure we accomplish it. And And I think if we accomplish one at a time, we can move to others. But your input is the key.
My approach is very different. I want to have direct connection with residents. I'm going to be holding monthly listening sessions, both in person and online, where people can ask questions and provide their input. So far, what we have seen, the government is disconnected from people. That also means if there are important issues that residents want referendum on, I'll be right with you for that. In addition, for example, I give you housing, all these apartments building going on, where so much money is invested. Was there any discussion with people? No. What happens is that all these contracts goes to developers, all the profit goes to developers. People come from outside to build those places, while people in the city are struggling without jobs. I want to change that. I want to grow from within. I want people to have jobs. I want people to have education. I want people to have safety in the city. So yes, I would be very connected with you. You will have direct line with me as mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a community question. It's going to be for 2 minutes.
Daily, we hear of youth involved in crime. They are younger and younger each day. They aren't going to school. What is your plan to resolve this issue and save our youth?
So I agree with you. Our youth are in crisis. I do social emotional learning in the city school district, working with kids grades 6 through 8. The issues that they are bringing to school with them, that they carry on their hearts, are dire, and they are solvable. Youth don't have outlets, they don't have as many positive adult relationships as they need, and they don't have hope for the future. We need to heavily invest in this. When we went up by 350% in carjackings, cities like St. Paul went down by 40%. And when I called to find out what they did differently, they invested in their youth. They got free Uber rides to school and to mental health appointments, fully funded youth sports and after-school programs and summer programs. They had a proactive youth car theft intervention team that actually went and proactively looked at kids who might get involved in thefts and worked to make sure that they had the resources that they need. And it doesn't stop with the children. You have to look at the families. What's going on in that family when kids are 11 years old stealing cars? They are self-identifying as needing help. So we need to give them that help.
First and foremost, this is a question that should be answered by the mayor who did not appear tonight. Mary Lupien should have some answers to this question because she was served on city council. And if the solutions that they have been telling us can work, why aren't they working? Here again, if what they think doesn't work, the greatest resource is you, our community. So what we need to do now, if we don't want to lose any more young people, is we have to organize as a community to work together for solutions that we see that are not on the agenda of the present mayor, city council members, and tell them what we want to improve the livelihood of our children. This community has been blamed too much. That has to stop. That's not going to solve the answer to the question. We also know the history of crime in this city. If you look at some of the last names, that's been a part of our community history. But if families are not being supported, if children are not being supported, and those of you who were here for the previous discussion, there was no mention of collaboration where all the systems will work together. I close with this thought. We have 241 systems and growing in this city, and none of them work together. So it's important, again, as I said earlier, our meeting together as often as we can come together to make it accessible to all citizens will be the beginning of change. But if we don't organize, that is the key. If there is no organization in this city to fight for the changes we want to see, we'll be asking the question and come up with no answers.
Can you repeat that question again? I want to make sure I heard this one correct.
Daily, we hear of youth involved in crime. They are younger and younger each day. They aren't going to school. What is your plan to resolve this issue and save our youth?
Well, everyone, this problem started before a lot of you were born. And I'm probably one of the oldest ones in here. I'm 74 years old, so I've seen it. 90% of this problem comes from selfishness, education, lack of education, family structure, which was destroyed years ago. And here's the kicker, immigration, which the start of this whole mess. The family structure was torn apart. And when we tried to put it back together, they found better ways of tearing it more apart. They threw drugs into this thing. So our children have been crying out loud, and no one has really been hearing their voices. So they act out. This is why you got problems in school, cars being stolen. But to answer that problem, number one, we got to get back to the family. And if we don't, we're doomed. And if we're doomed, our future is done. Because I need those youth in order for me to stay alive. And you're going to need them too. Because I'm sick and tired of going to funerals. I'm sick and tired of watching another mother cry and wonder what happened. I'm sick and tired of our children going to jail for drugs. I'm sick and tired of our kids killing each other. We got to find a better way of doing this, because at the rate we're doing it, it's wrong. Now, old-fashioned way of doing this, I'm blaming 90% of this on the church. She hasn't stood up and fought back for us. She went a long way. I grew up in a church which was everything. The neighborhood, the parent, the daycare center, the commercial, the fund. But the church has failed her community completely. And if the church don't step up and step out and step in and get down, we'll just run in for nothing. And I'm sad to say it, but that's what the future's gonna hold.
So I agree on the part, the faith institutions need to be involved, but we've belittled what the church has done. I'm part of a startup church in the city of Rochester. People don't come to church on Sunday. They're out enjoying whatever joyride or the last minute of nice weather, because Rochester's weather is fleeting, not to be light about it, but there are things that often we put higher priorities on, and we skip the spiritual aspect of life and what it teaches. It's the intangibles. If you can't focus on something that you can't see, and learn to put your faith in it, and work towards a goal that is a dream or a focus that is outside of what's on your hands, then you can't be trusted to be in the area of integrity, to do a job, those kinds of things. Those intangibles are what we need to teach and reinforce. I agree the church needs to emphasize that more. That brings home the nature and the character in children. We raise our children going to church. We can make it happen. If the family is broken, I agree with the family. When it's broken, these things begin to take over. We begin to have problems. I had my car stolen. I got initiated into Rochester, got my car stolen. Didn't have it 3-4 days. And then I almost got run over by a Kia boy a couple weeks ago on my bike. So I was almost a statistic. He wasn't trying to get to school. It was 9 o'clock at night. He's joyriding around with a bunch of people in the car. Guess what? He drove down the street, down Elton Street, turned left right in front of 2 police cars. They're looking the other way. We have an indifference to the crime that's going on in our backyard. I don't support that indifference. You got to take care of the little things in order for the big things to get conquered. If you can't take care of the little things, you aren't going to go after the big things either. So we've had an indifference towards crime in this city, and that's got to stop. And I'm stopping.
You're right. 11 year, 12, 13, 14. This is not normal. But you should not be surprised. I talked about 3 foundational pillars: safety, housing, and education. If any of these falter, we will have a lot bigger problems. It is happening right in front of us. Education. We need to keep those kids in school. We need to make our schools better. Absenteeism is high. Everybody needs to be in school. Very simple. And if kids are not coming to school, being on the street, we gotta go to parents, talk to them. We gotta involve teachers. Leaving them out is not an option. That also starts with, I'm gonna be tough on RCSD, because we cannot let education fail. The second part is, for the older ones, we gotta be tough on crime. We gotta make police go there where the crime is happening and give opportunity when it's needed. But if these 20, 21, 22 years old don't learn and become a repeat offender, there needs to be consequences. What's happening is not acceptable. It's not normal. We gotta wake up. We gotta stop this from happening. We gotta teach those kids. We gotta put them back in school. Give them extracurricular activity from 8 in the morning to 5 in the evening. You're gonna be in school. As simple as that. Thank you.
Did everyone get a chance to respond? Did you respond?
I wanted to ask if you would allow me, please.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, did everyone get a chance to respond? I'm sorry, I mean questions. I'm gonna go on to the next question, because we have quite a few community questions that we want to get in. This next question, I just want to make sure, did you get a chance to respond to this question? Yes?
Yes.
Question, thank you. Next question, 2 minutes. Why do you think RPD, the Sheriff, State Police, FBI, ATF, etc., can't stop the flow of illegal guns, but children know where they are and can get it?
They don't want to.
That's about the only answer we can come up with. They don't want
Wait,
to.
one person at a time. Minister has the floor.
They don't want to.
Okay, if that's your answer.
And let me add, we met with all law enforcement at Fight Village. They don't want to stop the flow of guns in the city of Rochester. If they did, they would stop. Now, we don't have this problem as publicized in the suburbs and in the rural areas, but the guns have to come in from somewhere. Plane, boat, truck. We know the 7 or 8 states that the guns traffic from to get to Rochester, New York. We have satellites all over the world. And it's impossible for me to believe, and I hope it's impossible for you to believe, that Dick Gregory had once said that we have the capability to see a net on a dog's behind, and we can't find the guns that are flowing freely in our city. If we stop the gun flow, doesn't matter where they can find them, in a store, in a house. We have to stop the flow of guns in this city. Now, we say support the police, but for what? When they refuse to do what is needed, the guns can be stopped if they want to stop them. But the politics get in. And when politics get in, there's corruption. So it's important that we demand again that we want the flow of guns to stop in the city of Rochester yesterday.
I would agree with Minister Florence that they don't want to. But I would also posit that just like building a wall doesn't keep immigrants from coming to the United States, we can't prevent kids from picking up guns if we don't stop the reasons why they're doing it. And I think a lot of us know that they pick up guns for two reasons. A big one is to feel safe. So why don't they feel safe? That is how we stop gun violence in Rochester. The Advanced Peace Program that we brought in 2020 is revolutionary in that it centers on mentorship and support. It works with the people that are currently involved in shooting. And we know that the kids that are getting shot are also the ones doing the shooting, for the most part. And it shows them love. Every day, there's someone out there proving to them that they're worth investment. And it works. Where it started in Richmond, California, it was the 5th highest murder rate in the entire country. They dropped by 80% because they gave these guys support. They got them social services. They worked with them to create a life map where they had purpose. They supported them with stipends for meeting certain goalposts. And they got therapy. And they chose a different way. So we can focus on this problem of plugging holes in a dam trying to stop the gun flow. And that's important. But we also need to stop the reasons why they're making them.
I don't know the answer, why the gun keeps coming in and why it's not being stopped. To me, some of these answers are fairly simple and straightforward. I don't know why it's happening, but I know what I'm going to do about this. I'm going to focus police on gangs, guns, violent crime. We know where they are. Our neighborhoods, our residents need to feel safe. So I'll be coming after you, as simple as that. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to be accountable. We want to make police accountable at the same time. But the level of violence we are seeing around is just unacceptable. It's not normal. We have normalized it. We gotta wake up. Under no circumstances, we can't make excuses that a 12-year, 13 or 14-year-old picking a gun and shooting somebody. We have failed. We gotta stop this. So I'll come with a simple approach. If somebody has a gun, if you're committing a crime, if you're a gangster, I'm gonna be sending police after you. There's no other choice.
Yeah, I think it's rather simple. We've made some policies in the state, the current people that are in administration right now. There is no consequence for crime below the age of 18. You can commit a crime and go on. There's nobody to prosecute you. There's nothing that law enforcement can go and do to hold you in jail. So the policies that we've made as a state, we allow this crime to go on. Starts from there, all the way down. Does Rochester say, too bad for you, New York State, we're gonna start defining our own goals. If you're caught committing a crime, you go to jail. And maybe we ought to take some of that money that's spent in our RCSD and make a kind of a penal school. If you like to do crime and you like to do that, we're going to have something a little tougher, a little more stringent guidelines. That might be your home for quite a while. And you're going to get educated. Or you're going to go out and you're going to work. You're going to help clean up the streets. You're going to clean graffiti off the walls. There are going to be some things that you're going to learn, some tangible tasks that you can put to work once you come back out of that institution. So we need to take it seriously. The policies that our governor and legislature have made do not affect the suburbs. If you've noticed, a number of our assemblymen have expanded their districts to encompass more of the suburbs and less of the city. That's because their policies, they don't like what's going on in their neighborhoods in the city, they move out in the suburbs. It doesn't affect them. It affects the most vulnerable parts of our society. Unfortunately, that's the city of Rochester. So we need to take crime seriously and prosecute it.
Well, that's a nice question. And I'm going to answer it the simplest way I can see it. Guns are big business. You're going to have to start looking at reality about people. Do you know how many jobs are behind a gun? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, somebody look it up for me, the average American should have 3.1 weaponry in their house per person. Do you know how many guns there are on that street then? We're talking multi-billions. Now, to try to stop this, I agree with Minister Florence. They don't want to stop this. You got 9 jobs behind this. You got the hospitals behind the shooting. You got the doctor trying to save a child from dying. You got prison systems waiting on the guy to shoot the gun. And we're talking billions of dollars. If it was so reasonable for them to do it, they'll do it. If they could go to the moon, I know they could stop the gun law. So, as I was saying, they are not planning on stopping it. Because number one, the Republican Party will bring up the Second Amendment in a heartbeat. And you all know that. So the best way of handling this gun problem is with education. All my children know how to shoot a gun, and I teach them how to shoot very well. Now I'm trying to teach my grandkids, but I'm scared if they pick up one, I want to make sure they know what they're doing with it. I don't want them to run around killing somebody innocently. But I teach them what a weapon can do. And it's going back to education again. Everything that we're dealing with involves education. And if you go around liking it, you're going around with bigger problems.
Thank you. Next question. 1 minute. The opioid crisis is crippling city neighborhoods like North Clinton, Lyle, Joseph, Hudson, and Mayoral Avenue. What's your plan for addressing the opioid crisis in our city? Whoever wants to start, 1 minute.
Again, this is another issue that does not want to be stopped. When drugs were loose in the black community, hard prison sentences were given. That was the answer. Jail everybody. Now the problem has spread outside of the black community and it affects everybody. More so now, the white community. Jail is not the answer now. So again, when politics get involved, instead of concentrating on the solution to the problem that will help the entire community, we go into these silos. And again, if we're not careful, the problem returns stronger because we were intimidated by the solution that could benefit everyone. If there's not a will to stop what is wrong, we won't come up with right solutions. If it's wrong for one community, it's wrong for another. And I just want to add, and I know my time is up, I hope we have the same understanding with white-collar crime.
Okay, thank you.
We're
Thank
talking
you
about
for
gangsters
answering.
and gangs, but what about
Thank you for answering the
the
question.
money that continues
Want to be
to
fair
be
and give everyone the same amount of
by
time.
the rich?
Not being fair because she got 2 minutes when she first came in here. How that's fair?
So the answer, it sounds like the answer to,
No, but that's not right because she had 2 minutes when she came in, so how was being fair?
okay,
What's the issue
well,
here?
there is no issue. The question again is the opioid crisis in Scribbling City neighborhoods like North Clinton, Lyle, Joseph, and Hudson, and Monroe Avenue. What's your plan for addressing the opioid crisis?
The opioid crisis is very serious, and you're right. It hasn't been a major focus until it really started infiltrating the white community. And now the answer has changed, but it doesn't mean that it's not the right answer. Overdose prevention centers are in many states. In New York City, there are 2, and we've run a trip down to On Point in New York City to understand how they're doing what they're doing. And it's supervised use, so that they're not, number 1, it's preventing death. But number 2, they're in a safe, supportive environment where they're building relationships and they feel supported and they are getting into rehab at much higher rates. And on Monroe Ave, North Clinton, and Jefferson, and Lyle, we have an ambassador program, which is employing people who are on the street, homeless, and that have drug, substance abuse issues, in cleaning up their community, and they're finding purpose and community with each other, and again, they're getting into housing and rehab at higher rates. So really, the solution is making sure that they feel like they have a purpose, because people don't do drugs for no reason.
Yeah. Rehab treatment is needed. It has become an epidemic to such a big scale. So 2 approaches to it: put people in treatment, addiction, and the second piece would be, and for the first piece, we got to make more investment on treatment and rehab. We are lacking there. Second piece is making sure that drugs don't come in, make it difficult for that to be here. And that's where policing comes in. Go after the drug dealers. And so it needs to be a two-sided approach. Treatment plus stopping drugs from coming in our city.
It's a tough question. It's endemic in certain areas of neighborhoods, as you listed the streets. I don't have clear solutions on all that because I've not really worked with it in any way directly, but there certainly is a need to have, it's demanding on the soul of people that work in that field. The more support we can give them, finding the cost, the money to cover the cost of having people available to help in that capacity in the neighborhood interaction with people they're using. But it's an addiction, and it takes some people knowledgeable to deal with that and also be able to afford treatment programs on the scale that we have problems in our city with. And that's a big scale. That's a tough one to conquer. And stopping the flow of drugs, that starts at the countrywide all the way down to our cities.
I believe the question asked what a person would do if they was mayor and how they would stop the drug war. Am I correct?
No, the opioid crisis in Scribbling City neighborhoods like North Clinton, Lyle,
Yeah, that's the same thing, same question.
actually is, the question is, what is your plan for addressing the opioid crisis?
Rochester has a major drug problem. It just reached my neighborhood pretty good. I live on Central Park area, and it's starting to look like Clinton Avenue at night now. To stop this drug flow, you're going to have to be the devil's advocate. You're going to have to come at it hard from every angle possible. That includes using the alphabet system, whether on the FBI and the CIA and all of these. So as mayor, I would have to definitely try my hardest to save my people. And I will use those organizations to do it, whether you like it or not. Because someone has to be the apple predator to clean this city up. And I mean it.
Thank you. 30 seconds. Do you support Rochester opting into rent stabilization?
Yes. In order to opt into rent stabilization, we need to complete a vacancy survey to prove that we have a vacancy emergency of less than 5% of units available. City Council authorized that study over a year ago, and the mayor sat on it. He never executed the contract, and we could have opted into rent control by now. Rent control keeps prices, it doesn't do anything to lower prices, it sets it where it's at, but then it controls how much it's able to raise year over year. So had we said it a year ago, the prices would be much lower. But it is important. What we did do is, in good cause eviction protection, it does limit rent increases to 5%, but rent control will go so much further.
I'm vice president at Fight Village. Affordable housing has been taken over by greedy developers who are controlling now, raising rent on poor people. Fight Village was one of the most affordable places to live for black people in the city. And I need not brag on the work that my father did in this community to help poor people in this city. Now what has to happen, and I'm wrapping up, I saw the sign. Because this city is afraid of powerful developers who want to dictate the plight of poor people, want to take away all the subsidies, evict people, and nobody wants to stand against them. Again, unless we stop the problem, and we know who the problems are, but we won't show any resistance because they have money, power, and influence. And again, the mayor's not here tonight because he doesn't want to face this.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you.
It's a good cause. Does put the cap of 5% limitation per year increase. But for housing, we have a bigger problem. We are 62% rental occupied. That's high for the size of the city. And it is proven if you look at the data. When so many people live in rental units, the city goes in decline. So the solution for that is home ownership. I want to build 4,000 housing units for ownership. For the same amount you pay rent, you can own a house. And that way, you move people into ownership houses. You give them stake. You give them pride in the city. And I'll stop now.
Generational wealth. That's
Exactly.
what we need to build.
It takes money to live in a house, whether it's run by a landlord or you own it yourself. property tax, it jumped up. I hear it's going up again. County property tax is going up. I did the calculation. I have about $400 a month just in property taxes and utilities, just to have my place to live in. That goes across rent or ownership.
Well, to answer that question, simple. Rochester's biggest problem is you don't have a minority financial institution that can help you out of a lot of your situations here. Atlanta, Georgia has 3 black banks and more, and it took black banks for the Atlanteans to survive. Rochester, you need a large financial institution here that's minority ran, that can help you achieve your dream.
Next question. We need more shelters for the homeless. How are you going to help get the homeless off the streets and out of abandoned buildings? Anybody can start. 1 minute.
Could you repeat the question, please?
We need more shelters for the homeless. How are you going to help get the homeless off the streets and out of abandoned buildings?
Start turning some of these abandoned buildings to homeless shelters. That's simple.
Okay. Next.
You have a dual community in the streets. You have some people who have issues living with other people. You can't just make them get into a new place to live. It shows a breakdown in of going to the people who are homeless, and many of us are not. And again, they are part of the community that we don't meet with to meet their needs. You can't dictate to homeless people any more than any of us can be dictated to. We have to help people where they are. And again, as mayor, I want to listen to everybody before I suggest a solution. But these are questions that should be asked by the city council who's in place and the mayor who's in place. Because if they have not come up with any answers, why are we pressing those of us who have never sat in a seat? These are questions that we should make sure that those who are in the seat presently, who have their hands on the levers, have they met with the homeless community to find out what their needs are?
Did everyone get a chance to respond? Or does everyone?
No. I'll go. Street homelessness is a complicated issue because it involves many other things, often drug use, often mental health. But it is a very solvable issue. We can address that. At the peak, I believe during COVID, I talked with Sister Grace last month, and she said that if we have about 200 beds, that will take care of the street homelessness. Why can't we do it? There are so many organizations in the city trying to solve the street homelessness, but we can't do it. I will be putting this as my focus. If you don't have enough shelter, build one. Actually, build a couple of different ones, depending on the kind of issue. It's not that big, it's an investment. 200 beds is not that big. Of course, you have to provide mental health professional and drug use treatment programs for some of those, because it's very complicated. But it is a very solvable, addressable approach.
Generosity of others to homeless needs. I've seen that practiced in our church. Handouts. Some people want to live in the streets. Obviously, when it's really cold, they don't, and we see there's a problem. but being willing to be generous to those who show the need. I agree with the pastor down there. It's having a posture of giving and sharing to those that are less fortunate than ourselves. Teaches us more about caring for our neighbors, loving our neighbors as we love ourselves. And some days you hand it out. I've had to go through this walk in my own life and learning how to respond to someone in need with some friends. I also saw a developer work with putting in a homeless shelter. I think it was probably back in 2016, 2017, and that was helpful to the community. We need more of that. So I agree, more of that.
We definitely have a shortage of beds. At a time when our mayor thinks the answer to homelessness is taking people's tents away. There are reasons that people don't go into shelter. There are barriers. If you have a spouse, if you have a pet, if you have belongings, I'm working with a woman right now whose son has youth sports after 8 o'clock, but the curfew's 8 o'clock. So what is she supposed to do? Completely destabilize her son's life just so she can get off somebody's couch? The choices people are given are impossible. But the truth is that it is cheaper to pay someone's rent than it is to subsidize a shelter bed. So why aren't we doing that? We could have a local housing access voucher program where we set people up with an apartment. So that's a stable place to live. All over the country, we're finding out that congregate shelters, putting everyone in the same room, people don't feel safe. It's not, if you're in recovery, it's not a place to go if everyone is around you is using, or you're worried about people stealing your belongings. And that's something that's decided at the county level. It doesn't mean that the city can't fund it.
Thank you. Yes or no, if you are elected, will you stop homeless encampment sweeps?
Yes.
What's the part? Homeless encampment?
Sweeps, the sweeping of homeless encampments.
Okay.
Yeah. If you are elected, will you stop that?
First, yes, we'll stop it. Anybody want a second?
Okay.
I first.
Mary said yes. Asa said yes.
Yes, I would stop it.
Thank you. Minister said yes.
We will move those people in shelter.
Will you stop homeless encampment sweeps?
Yes.
Yes or no? If you are elected. Okay.
I'll wait for some answers on that. I go through sections of Rochester and you have homeless encampments over our trail system and things. It makes it feel unsafe for people to walk and be in those parts of our city. So we need to do something to help the homeless.
Okay. Yes or no? If you are elected,
No answer.
go ahead. Thank you. Next question. In the face of the ongoing RG&E crisis, record shutoffs, and ongoing misbilling, Rochester having the third highest energy burden in the country, and inaction from the county, will you commit that your administration will support legislation and swiftly implement the commissioning of a Phase 1 public utility feasibility study that investigates replacing RG&E and that still covers scenarios for a transition at the city and county levels with the money that's already set aside for this purpose? Do you need me to repeat? No. Do you need, no? There were probably about 30 seconds because I'm going to reread it. Do you need me to read the question again?
Yes.
Okay. In the face, it's going to be a yes or no response. In the face of the ongoing RG&E crisis, record shutoffs and ongoing misbilling, Rochester having the third highest energy burden in the country and inaction from the county, will you commit that your administration will support legislation and swiftly implement the commissioning of a Phase 1 public utility feasibility study that investigates replacing RG&E and that still covers scenarios for a transition at the city and county levels with the money that's already set aside for that purpose. And I believe there's already $500,000 that's already set aside.
Now, would that come with the matching funds that's coming from the county?
No, no. Yes or no is your response. No, it will not. This is not the county coming with the matching funds of the county.
Because that's going to be hard to answer that question. Some of us already know the other half. Now, if it comes
Can
with
we
the
just
county,
answer
if
what
it
you
comes
do
with the
know
county,
based on
if
what
it comes
you
with
know?
the county, putting up the other half, the answer would be yes.
Okay, but without the county and just using the
Because
500, okay, I understand. And just using the 500,000, the answer is no.
We went through this last night almost, and it's coming out the same way. We got to come
Yes,
up with,
or,
now the feasible study is going to cost a little over $1 million. 500,000 is going to be a no from anyone on this board.
well,
Unless we
don't
all-
answer for the other candidates. Let the, Asa, I just want you to, I heard your explanation. I'm gonna move on down. Louis, hearing, no? Not this time. Thank you.
Yes, an independent study, truly independent study.
Okay,
Absolutely, this is an issue I've been leading on for years.
okay.
I would say
Yes is your answer?
Yes,
Is
but
yes-
it needs more funding.
Okay, but it needs more funding. Minister?
Without the money.
What do you all want?
It
All
can't
right.
be done without the money. They need the additional money. Then it can go
Okay.
forward.
Thank you.
I want
But I wanna hear from you.
I want
as
what the
candidate.
people, I want what the
You
people
want
want.
what the people want?
I want
Okay.
what the people
All right,
want.
that's the answer. We thank you for that. Next question, because we're running out of time. We're almost at 8:30. Last question is gonna be, what are your thoughts about Rochester being a sanctuary city? 30 seconds.
I think the 1986 term sanctuary city is far different than what we practice today. It's sanctuary for refugees and special protected people that have moved in, that's fine. But we don't do a good enough job protecting our own citizens on the streets. I don't think we should be inviting people in to experience the terrible scenarios that we have going on our streets today.
Thank you.
We're all immigrants in this country. Some of us came forcibly, some of us came willingly. Yes, Rochester needs to be a sanctuary city. And I can tell you why, because not a single person in this country is actually from this country. Your ancestors are from everywhere else, so why can't we have a sanctuary city, a safe city for others?
Thank you. Thank you. Who would like to respond next, please? Anyone? If not, I'm going to go to the next question.
I am an immigrant. I moved to this country almost 28 years ago. I have friends who are immigrants. We have seen what's happening over the last so many months. People getting picked up, people with valid visa, people who are born here, people who have lived here since they were 4. I have friends who worry about what happens if they get picked up. They're planning what's going to happen to their wife, what's going to happen to
Okay,
their
I think,
kids.
is this time up? I'm sorry. We only got 30 I'm sorry. We got a lot of good questions over here, so I'm trying to get in as many as I can. Go ahead.
The consequences for our community are real. Families are being torn apart, and we need a mayor who will put themselves on the line. I stood up to J.D. Vance when he tried to scapegoat immigrants for the housing crisis. And I'm ready to fight. And I've always stood up to bullies, whether it was ICE, J.D. Vance, or anyone else who tries to harm the city. As mayor, I will ensure that Rochester remains a true sanctuary city, and that our policies are enforced with real accountability, not just empty promises. We can't afford leadership that backs down when it matters most.
Thank you.
We are a sanctuary city and we have to stand behind the legality of being one. But again, we did not put pressure on our mayor that it's important, that these questions are important for us who are trying to come into office. But again, these are questions, and those who sponsored this event, I hope they shift these questions to Malik, and that the community hear his answers. And all those who are running for city council, that we hear their answers.
Thank you. 30 seconds. What is your plan for police accountability? Do you support the PAB? 30 seconds.
So I fought for the creation of the Police Accountability Board as a member of the PAB Alliance, and on council I fought to support it and protect it at every turn. Meanwhile, Mayor Evans will not even provide them with the evidence they need to complete their investigations, and he even sued to keep the information about their findings hidden from the public, undermining the will of the voters who demanded transparency. Now more than ever, we need real accountability. The Locust Club just won a court judgment weakening oversight. An executive order threatened to give officers near total immunity, even arresting any elected official who stands in their way.
Okay, the PAB, yes. I'll support it, and I want the police department to be more transparent than what it is. There's a lot of things going on, especially with the young folks being arrested, the rate they're being arrested right now. Some of these children are actually being pulled off the streets for no reason. And police must be held accountable, as well as the judges and some of these lawyers that we have in the system too.
Next.
In its current form, I don't think it's effective. I think we've had a high increase in crime in our city ever since they put this in place. So currently, I don't support it.
Safety and accountability, they go together. So we want to keep our city safe. We want to be hard on crime, but we want police to be accountable. So I support the mission of PAB, but unfortunately it's not working out. Judges has ruled that the PAB doesn't have any teeth. So we have to figure out how do we keep police accountable.
I think more of the community needs to be a part of that process. I think the original idea of the PAB historically was different than what it's evolved to be today. But if I was mayor, I would want to take another look at that to involve more of our community. Because again, the pressure can't just come from a small group of people. Numbers matter when you want to make change. So I would want to hear from the community about how we could strengthen our involvement together in that process.
Just for clarity on the Police Accountability Board, there is a Police Accountability Board Alliance that is open to the community. So anybody that is interested in being a part of the process, they can certainly contact the PABA and be a part of it. And that's a large community table. Okay? So we are going to wrap this up because we are at our time. You're going to have 1 minute, and you can feel free to tell us and share with us in your 1 minute what it is that you want us to know. Okay? We'll start with the minister. Thank you.
June 24th is coming up for the primary. DeVay and the mayor of Rochester took me off of the Democratic line. Right. I'm asking this community if we can have 25,000 people write my name in June. Right. We can have a new mayor. Yeah. Secondly, I'm on the independent line. I have my petitions with me tonight. I have to get 1,500 names, which I will get. Yeah. And I'll be on the ballot on the 24th and also for early voting. Yeah. We have two opportunities to win. Yeah. The write-in vote on the 24th of June, and then voting for me in November. I'm asking for 25,000 citizens to vote. Only 8% or 10% come out in June and November who decide who represents the community. I'm challenging us, 25,000 citizens, vote for Minister Clifford Florence Sr. June 24th, November, I'll be on the independent line. I'll probably be on the bottom, so it'll be easy to find me. And don't forget my son is running for city council.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Minister. 1 minute.
My name is Lupien. I'm running for mayor because I know our city deserves better. We deserve more than survival. We deserve to thrive. And I've spent my time on council fighting for the things that make our city safer. Guaranteed income, housing first, and community responders that show up with care. While others serve the status quo, I serve the people, because I know that real safety comes from stability, not just policing. Real growth comes from investing in our residents, not handing out corporate subsidies. We don't have time to wait for change to trickle down. We can build it from the ground up. And I'm not just asking for your vote. I'm asking for you to believe in what we can do when we lead with courage, compassion, and commitment to each other. So let's build the thriving Rochester that we know is possible when we invest in us.
I talked about 3 foundational pillars: safety, housing, and education. If you leave any of these 3 behind, the house crumbles. That is what we have seen for many, many years. This is the result of neglect and incompetence. So, we need to tackle all of these 3. We have to flip the script of how we do things. I will build 4,000 housing units for ownership, where people can have pride and stake in our city. I'm going to tackle RCSD. We don't have a choice. I'm going to be living in the living room saying that I'm going to be holding them accountable. And for crime, yes, we got to make police visible. We got to put them where they are. We got to be smart policing. So, there is hope, but time for small changes is over. Staying the course will get you exactly where we are. What I'm proposing is big and bold. I'm talking about economic revival of Rochester.
Thank you for your time and hosting this panel. My name again is Sabo. I'm currently on the ballot for November election under the Conservative Party. I am petitioning to be on the independent line. Community First is the name of the party, and I would like your vote or your signature first and your vote in November. I believe in Rochester. Rochester has a lot of great potential, but we've had some big changes that have happened in the last 10, 15 years, and no one's addressed and come up with plans of how to revive our economy. We need jobs, we need opportunities. My goal is to make Rochester a thriving community that's favorable to jobs, better income, because bills do go up. The city is our taxes increase, our costs increase. Not attracting jobs is only a dead end for us.
Give yourselves a round of applause for coming here and enjoying with us, because tonight I learned a few new things and a lot of us learned some new friends. Now to ask the question, the reason why I'm running for mayor, I can no longer sit on the sideline at 74 years old to watch the direction the city is actually headed into a very dangerous situation. Number one, and the main and most important reason why I'm running for mayor is the future of our children. We seem to forget all about them. Majority of us here are baby boomers. And here goes the sad thing about this. We're going to leave the next generation worse off than we were. Our parents gave us something. We're not going to be able to leave nothing to our children if we keep going on this current railroad train to, I'm in imagine the word from it's in my mind. So in November, that's where I will be on the ballot. I avoided the Democratic crash machine, thank God for that one. And we need to make this be the last petition drive ever held in Rochester, New York. We changed everything else. With modern technology, we need to destroy this too.
All right, thank you. Thank you to all our mayoral candidates. Can we please give them a hand? Thank you so much. I apologize for all of the questions. We had a lot of questions. I wasn't able to get to all the questions. But we thank you all for coming out and for supporting this forum. There you go in peace.
Anybody that wants